Welcome back, everyone. Something stuck in my head years ago. I was doing an interview with some educators connected to BOCES, and they said something in passing that just really resonated, stayed in my mind for a long time. That a lot of times when a child goes to school, it's the only nutritional meal that they will get that day. Think about that the next time you go to the refrigerator, open it up, and think, maybe I'll have that, maybe I'll have that. And the other thing that struck me is that there are communities right within our region, in our 9-county region, that are food deserts, meaning that in order to get good local produce, vegetables, meats, you have to travel. You just don't go down a mile or two, you got to travel. Well, with the pandemic, of course, all of that was heightened. And we came across an organization, ADK Action, which is part of a broader network of organizations called the Adirondack Food System Network, who have just started to, they formed this group recently, and have just started to do some amazing work. So we asked the co-chair, Brittany Christenson, if she'd join us today and give us a sense about what's going on with this organization. So first, Brittany, welcome. Very nice to have you here.
Thank you. It's really nice to be here. Thanks for having me.
And just in case some apartment dwellers in New York City are wondering what it's like to live up in the Adirondacks, your setting, my dear, is very, very nice. It works living up here, doesn't it?
It does. I love living here. And yeah, my husband and I just built this house a couple of years ago. So we're definitely country people.
Oh, I love it. So at any rate, you heard what I said in the open there. And Brittany, that always just, you know how certain things just kind of stay on your mind? Now, with ADK Action, you've been involved with issues related to nutrition, amongst other things, and decided to form this group called the Adirondack Food System Network. But I understand that it's also connected to AHI, which is, of course, the Adirondack Health Institute. So give us a little bit of the background and how it's connected.
Yeah, absolutely. So Adirondack Action, ADK Action, is a nonprofit that serves the entire Adirondack region. And we've been working on the issues of food access and building the local food system since 2016. But more recently, and especially with the pandemic and the heightened food insecurity, especially heightened childhood food insecurity, which you mentioned in the intro, that's very real. We had started to come together with a group of other partners, including the Adirondack Foundation, Craig Garden, Essex Farm Institute, the Adirondack Land Trust, ANCA, a nice long list, and anyone who I missed, I apologize, but we started coming together around the pandemic, looking for solutions to get food to people where they were at. So many people vulnerable, so many people stuck at home. And we started to really realize that there was a need for defining a geography for our food system, and then looking to strengthen all aspects of that food system, which include production, distribution, processing, consumption, and waste management. So really looking at the whole food system holistically, and having a structured approach. And so ADK Action, in my role with ADK Action, I serve as the co-chair of this network, but we're all equal partners, and we're really being coordinated and getting structure from Adirondack Health Institute, which just has incredible capacity, and they're very, very well known as great conveners in our region. So we're really lucky to have their support.
Well, you know what? Outside the fact that's really exceptional what you're doing, is the organizations that you just rattled off. Those are all of the major organizations in this 9-county region who touch people every single day in a variety of ways. And that's a 9-county region. So, that's Clinton, Essex, Franklin, Fulton, Hamilton, Saratoga, St. Lawrence, Warren, and Washington counties. I had to read that, by the way. But I really think that's wonderful. Now, the Adirondack Health Institute, of course, is a real backbone organization for something like this. A tremendous breadth of resources and people to be able to assist you in a number of different ways. One thing that pops into my head immediately, Brittany, is the idea that healthcare as we know it has changed pretty dramatically over the last couple of decades, especially. It used to be a very reactive system. I'm sick, let me go to a doctor, right? Or go to the emergency room. To a more proactive system where if we pay attention to our health, if we pay attention to our nutrition, that the incidence of feeling sick or being mentally alert are greatly reduced. Therefore, you're being proactive about your own health and the health of the community. Talk a bit about why you think that that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's happening is that the healthcare system is starting to look even further upstream at the root causes of poor health. So instead of, like you say, being reactionary and trying to help people once they have developed diseases and illnesses, if we can help people have access to healthy lifestyles and especially healthy food at the very beginning, and especially make sure that the food is grown in a way that supports the health of the environment, because the environment in which we live also has impacts on our long-term health, then we can really help the healthcare system have the desired impacts. And more and more research has shown and legitimized healthcare taking a strong interest, a vested interest in community health and supporting issues like this food system network, because what we're doing is over generations, there's the opportunity to really create a place where people flourish.
That's right. When you were just touching on the environment there, I'd like to remind our viewers here that, when you put farmers at the heart of a situation, the situation that we're discussing, you recognize that farmers not only understand the land, but they understand the environment, they understand food, and the business opportunity sort of reveals itself. That the more opportunities we give farmers to be able to sell their food, be connected to the community, the benefits are, they start to grow from just providing food for somebody to really building the sense of what proper nutrition means for a community. So how is the local food system set up? How would you do this? Do you do this with farmer markets, opening stores? What is the plan there?
So there have been a number of organizations over many years that have been working on food systems in our region. Cornell Cooperative Extension has a branch in most counties, and they do incredible work, farm to school, farm to institution, strengthening farmers market and access. And that's my daughter in the background.
Oh, I love it. That's that's fantastic. You can bring her up, bring her into the conversation if you want.
She approaches, I'll lift her up. So there's quite a number of organizations that have been doing this great work. The Hub on the Hill in Essex is a great example. They're a food hub. They aggregate, purchase, and bring together food from multiple farms throughout the region, and then they sell and distribute it to restaurants, individuals, all kinds of different markets. And so what we're looking to do is take efforts like those and bring them all together with structure and with coordination. And we really want to make sure that people all across the 9-county region have reliable, convenient, affordable access to food that's culturally appropriate for them. And so that can look like, yes, more farmers markets. It can look like more brick and mortar opportunities. 80K Action, my organization, has piloted a model called the pharmacy. And we put a farm store section, kind of like a 7-day-a-week farmers market, within an existing business. We did this in Keysville, New York, at the Keysville Pharmacy. And so that's another way that you can expand food access without, getting a traditional grocery store to open up. And finally, especially with the pandemic, there's been a huge push towards more online food purchasing with local delivery to the homes of the customers. And that's an avenue that we're very excited about, just because the geographic spread in the region is so broad. We're sparsely populated, we're all spread out, and it's unlikely that in the near term, the food deserts in our region are going to have the population density or the resources to really attract traditional grocery stores. So if we can deliver healthy food from local farms to people's homes, that's a really good scenario.
I want our viewers to know something, and I think that I'll probably have to just read this to you because it just really struck me, and something that Brittany had sent to me prior to the interview. Farmers and food organizations are clued into the environmental health factors and focused on not only healthy food, but indeed food that is grown in a way that supports healthy land, air, and water for all. So you can see how an initiative like this touches all of the community. One last question for you, and then it sounds to me like maybe your daughter there needs mommy. That's what I know what that's like. Not as mommy, but as daddy. Hey, what do you really hope to accomplish? If you were to, if I and maybe it's an unfair question, but I'm because I really understand what you're saying to us. But do you have any kind of bullet points or something?
Absolutely. A home run for us would be increased food access for especially low income consumers across, be healthier for many generations to come.
That's great. One of the things that we talk about as a result of the pandemic, we do a lot more interviews on Zoom, and it becomes a lot more intimate because you get to see where people live, you get to hear their families and whatever. I just love it. We always talk about it knocking down the fourth wall of television. You don't need the fancy studios, you don't need the fancy lights and the fancy scripts. There it is right there. So is she nearby? You can introduce her to us if you'd like.
This is my daughter, Lucy.
Okay, that's a start, and let's consider that an accomplishment, okay? I totally understand, by the way. She's beautiful. Well, Brittany, thank you so much for taking the time. I want our viewers to look into this, especially in all of the counties that we're talking about. You'll see a web address on the bottom of the screen. Please contact them, find out more about how you can contribute, or if you have some needs, let them know what the needs are, because it does vary by county to county, family to family, as a matter of fact. All right, Brittany, thank you so much for taking the time to tell us about this.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me on.